You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Yeah, well, just keep your Power Gloves off her, pal, huh?
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Yeah.
Every week, it just sucks. Every fucking week.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And this week's no different. Welcome, everyone, to Moviesucktastic, episode 97.
That's right. 90 what?
91, right? 91.
94.
That's what I said, 94.
That's exactly
94.
what you said. Okay.
Exactly, 94.
Exactly. This is going to be a good one. I'm really digging this one.
Now, we obviously have to talk about The Wizard first because you opened with one of the most iconic scenes from the film.
That's right. That's right. And let me tell you something. I fucking own the Power Glove. I actually owned it. I'm not going to get into too much about it here because I want to talk about it on Strangers, but I owned that piece of shit. And believe me, you want to hear all about it in Strangers, so.
Now, The Wizard is a Fred Savage vehicle. It's also the first movie based directly on a video game what do you call it? Like on the not it's on the actual the copyright of it. It's not just based on video games in general. It's a specific product.
Mm-hmm.
And a specific brand, Nintendo. So it's pretty much a 2-hour Nintendo commercial, hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Hour and 40-minute Nintendo commercial. As a matter of fact, everything from them talking about the surprise game that they have to play, which just by the way, was out 10 months already when the movie came out.
Hello?
Hello? What is going on here? My house line is ringing.
I thought we had a Moviesucktastic caller.
You know what? They're using that line. I don't know why it's not going in through Skype, but as a matter of fact, you know what? Here, let me take a look at something. Let's see. Did they just try? No. It didn't patch through to the Skype line. So maybe it's somebody trying to call in, actually.
We're just doing a horrible job.
We are. We're doing a terrible job.
Yeah, it's the first video game movie based on an actual video game product. No, wait, you know what? And I apologize.
No, that's not true.
No, it's not true. I just got mixed up. Super Mario Brothers is that. I got my notes mixed up.
Right.
Everybody ignore me. Joey, you go ahead. I'm just going to take
All right. Well, basically, it's The Wizard.
I apologize. I got my notes mixed up.
No, it's okay.
I fucked up. We must just stop the show.
It is an hour and 40-minute commercial for Nintendo.
Yes.
Everything from... There's actually a list on the wiki page, which I did write down. I did write it down because I knew all of the games before I went to the wiki page. But there is a list of Nintendo games that they use throughout the entire film. And it's a Nintendo commercial all the way from that to the Power Glove to the fucking Nintendo Power magazine and phone service you could call to get help with tips and tricks for the fucking games. There.
And Super Mario Brothers 3, which, as you mentioned, was released earlier before the film, but wasn't supposed to be. Originally, the film was supposed to come out first as a teaser for the game.
Of course. And you know, in a perfect world, that's what should have happened. In the marketing world of today, how much of Hollywood and the entertainment media and all that has become whores, it would have gotten done right today. This movie would have been released the same weekend as the game in this time, but they couldn't get it done back then. So the game was actually out 10 months. The movie came out that Christmas, 1989. The game came out February of 1989, which even Nintendo dropped the ball on that. They didn't even release it for the Christmas season. You know, so
yeah, right.
That's
when you want to plug games.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guarantee, you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if Universal Studios pressured Nintendo to hold off on the game until when the movie came out in December of 89. Or Nintendo pressured them to release it in February when the game came out.
You know, the problem is when something like this happens, it's always marketing, and it's never really well thought out, because whenever something like this happens, it's all like under budget and it's all under the radar. Right. They don't do this because they have the budget to spend. They're just spending as little as possible they can on this commercial in order to get it out. So they're
exactly.
not. It's not. It never goes well.
No, it never does.
Now, before we get into the video game aspect of it a bit more,
sure.
Let's not ignore the storyline.
Okay.
Basic storyline is we have young Jimmy, who's
probably
played,
autistic.
Possibly autistic.
They don't say that, but they allude to it quite a bit.
Well, they call him freak and weirdo and robot and all other things. But yeah, autistic, that'd be too harsh. And, excuse me, it's played by Luke Edwards, who's going to be in the Jeepers Creepers 3 film, so he finally made that transfer. And he's the half-brother.
Well, wasn't he the son in the second movie?
No.
The opening of the film?
Actually, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure in the opening of the movie...
Was that him?
The creeper grabs his little brother, and throughout the film, him and his father are trying to track down the creeper. I'm pretty sure he played the older brother.
Oh, no, you're right. He was Jack Taggart Jr.
Pretty sure. There you go. All right. I know my creepers.
See? So this was the breakaway film for him. His half-brother is Fred Savage, and his half-brothers are Fred Savage and Christian Slater.
Who look nothing alike, although they're supposed to come from the same mother. The little kid is different mother. And
none of them look a goddamn thing like Beau Bridges.
Beau Bridges.
Let's underline that for a fact. Beau Bridges doesn't look a thing like anybody in the film.
And let me tell you, Fred Savage's performance, he went from the Wonder Years directly into this, and he is essentially the exact same character from the Wonder Years TV show. Everything down to his expressions, his mannerisms, the way he says things, the tone in his voice. You got 50,000 in Double Dragon? It's like Wonder Years. I'm waiting for Daniel Stern to narrate something soon.
He should narrate this film.
Maybe it would have been better.
Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. I'm going to stop clearing my throat. Apologize.
Yeah, I do too, but I'm drinking some water to keep it down.
Jimmy's father is Sam McCurry. Most people recognize him as the annoying guy that tells Polish jokes in Raising Arizona. He's a consummate professional. He only plays complete douchebags. And this is probably his best douchebag role. The first time you meet him, he's taking this his son, or his stepson, and putting him in a home for children with mental problems because he keeps going off on little walking adventures. And there's that whole scene where he's ranting about how the kid has to be put away. The psychiatrist and the wife both share that he's a dick glance.
Yeah.
And about halfway through the scene, there's that pause where they both look at each other. It's like, yeah, he's a dick. There's a huge dick in this room, and it's attached to a penis. Because we're not.
Yeah.
I'm dying. And
don't die.
So Fred Savage decides he's going to kidnap his mentally deficient half-brother and take him to California because that's where he wants to go. And thus begins a fun little trick of taking small children who can't protect themselves, hiking across the desert, hitchhiking with truckers, and eventually they meet up with Corey Haim Drag.
With $27. Corey Haim Drag.
Yeah.
You talking about the little girl?
Yeah, I don't want to be mean, but not exactly the kind of girl you'd cast in. She looked like a boy wearing a dress, and the three of them get together.
That's a little harsh. It's a little harsh.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Some people go for that look. And,
oh my God, she's 12?
Some people pay good money for that. And she gives them the idea after they find out that suddenly, for some strange reason, we don't see a Nintendo game for the first, I'd say, 15, 20 minutes of the film.
Right.
Not until he puts Jimmy in front of a Double Dragon arcade game, and suddenly he gets 50,000 points. So Corey Heyman Drag says, "Hey, let's go to this huge was Armageddon
Video Armageddon.
This huge competition that Nintendo's throwing
In Los Angeles.
And the number one prize is $50,000. We'll split the difference because she's got a broken home that you know from the start, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then we go on this lovely voyage where we relive two of the great pastimes of the 80s, playing video games and stealing money from little children. At least 3 times in this film, adults or close to adults steal. We're talking like 10. When they're riding in the pickup truck in the back, and the guy looks over his shoulder and sees her thumbing through singles. She's got like a small stack of singles. Like,
well, not to defend the truckers because it was still under $100, but she said she got $83 from selling her ticket. Plus, they had $27. They had $27.
She's thumbing through singles. There's not even a 5 in there, and somebody's like, "Pull the truck over. We're gonna beat these knots to and
we're gonna steal their money."
And I'm sorry, in
we're
the real
bigger
world,
than them.
In the real world, this film would have ended 45 minutes into it, and it would have ended with a little shit like 3 shallow graves off to the side of the truck road. It would not have been so pretty.
I know. Oh, and another thing, as far as Hollywood and whatnot whoring themselves out, this is also a commercial for Universal Studios at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah,
I mean, big time. Not only are they walking on the Universal Studios lot, but they actually walk through some attractions too. And
they ruin the illusion of King Kong because they show the mechanics underneath it,
right? While
they're chased by the creepy child chaser.
Now, this film was made by Universal, so it only makes sense for their selfish interest to put themselves in the movie somehow, because they were also opening up Universal Studios Orlando that coming summer, 1990. So every Universal VHS tape from pretty much 1987 and on had this Universal Orlando commercial in it, including this one, which was released before Universal Orlando was being opened in summer of 1990. So it was a fucking whore fest all around. Yeah. From putting it in the movie to putting commercials on the tape before you saw the movie, when you got the VHS tape. Unbelievable how much they hoard themselves out for this movie, which didn't do well at all.
Well, gee, I wonder why.
If this film had come out at the height of Nintendo, at the height of Super Mario Brothers, which is also the big fault with the movie Super Mario Brothers, which we'll get into later, it would have been a bigger success. Mm-hmm. But because it was coming out towards the end of the original Nintendo's life, it, in my opinion, hurt this movie. Because Genesis was just coming out. There was better games and graphics and systems on the horizon. No one was really interested in Nintendo anymore. You know, its lifespan only was another maybe year or so. So
definitely,
if it had come out 4 years earlier, it would have been fine.
Sure. Now, in between the opening sequence with the kind of Rain Man opening song, and please tell me why they're playing a didgeridoo during the Power Glove scene. So they're playing stuff that's supposed to be.
It's like fucking Karate Kid music. It's like
exactly. It's like mystical. This is mystical, philosophical. Like it's Vision Quest type music. This is Vision Quest music.
Exactly. And by the way, the Power Glove, you have to punch in the code for every game that you play. The Power Glove does not make beeping noises like that when you do it.
Especially not the beeping noises from Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
You know, fucking false advertising right there. I mean, that whole scene was designed and only in the film to sell the Power Glove because it was coming out.
They don't even use it again.
That Christmas. No, they don't.
They don't.
No, it was only designed to sell that Power Glove that Christmas. I fucking owned one. It worked. And when you watch the movie and he's like, doo, 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 whatever it is, punching in those numbers, you're thinking, wow, that's fucking cool. And then when you actually get it, it don't do fucking shit.
For anybody who's never seen the Power Glove or doesn't know how it works, just imagine if you had a Wii controller, but you were playing Pong with it. That's pretty much the equivalent. It was the first version of like the Pong Wii type thing, except it sucked. Now,
go to YouTube and punch in the Power Glove commercial or Angry Video Game Nerd. He does something on it. I have the commercials for it. So if you want, stick with us for Strangers and you can see the commercial when we end this episode.
Right. Now, between the Vision Quest opening and the big Nintendo tournament at the end, which only has one elimination round,
for $50,000. He
doesn't
even show up on time. He just gets like thrown in there, and it's like, okay, you're in the finals. What?
They've got numbers on their back going up to like 200, and from all we see, they only pit what was it, 18 kids together.
Oh, right.
That's it. There's no like they don't show the first rounds of thousands of players. He shows up, suddenly he's in like the finals. Doesn't make any sense.
No,
but
none.
In between this journey, again, we have the kids being beaten up repeatedly and having their money taken. We also have the side story where Christian Slater and Bo Bridges male bonding, partially naked in some scenes, and
sleeping in the same bed,
and occasionally going on Road Warrior demolition derbies with the creepy guy that's trying to track down the
creepy nerdy tough guy.
Kid. Right. If you want to take a character and make him creepy, make him short, give him thinning hair, and give him an action strap for his glasses. That's it. You're good. And a bolo tie. Add a bolo tie. That's it. You don't want this guy anywhere near your children.
That's right.
Let alone hire him to track your child down for you. And so, of course,
I mean, he threatens them. He says, "Listen, I don't get paid if you find the kid, so get out of my. Make sure you stay out of my way."
Well, that's the thing. The film is a bit heavy-handed because, again, it's written for kids. That's why all the adults in the film are either idiots or assholes, and all the kids have have these great character arcs and they're full of wisdom, and all the parents are buffoons or jerks. That's to be expected. But on this journey, we also get a lot of montages, and we get to see a lot of Nintendo games. And the great thing about it is, I have a list
of them.
Well, let me just say this. Yeah. For anybody, for our younger people watching or listening who grew up with crap like this, you're watching this film showcasing video games, and they're the shittiest graphics you've ever seen in your life.
And for the record,
at the end, when Super Mario, when they reveal Super Mario 3 at the top, and they have these huge projection screens, and projected on the video screens has got to be the lamest graphics ever. Just Mario jumping around. Boop, boop,
I know, and I mentioned it in last week's episode that I did not feel like video game graphics really, really enticed me or made me believe that this is amazing until Xbox, where I felt like I didn't have a reason to go to the arcade anymore. And I stick to that. I really do. Did you catch in the beginning of the film where he's doing the blocks and the mother says he's putting these blocks together and it means something.
It was a psychiatrist.
Oh, at the psychiatrist. And she said it means something. I can feel that it means something. Mm-hmm. That was a reference to Tetris, the way he was putting them together, the way he was dropping them down and putting them on top of each other.
Why didn't they show Tetris?
Because they tried to be smart with the scene. They tried to throw in a video game reference without showing a video game.
Okay, what's your favorite line in the film?
It's got to be the Power Glove line.
All right.
Or he touched my breasts, just because it's like, why is that in there?
Those are 4 words I never want to hear in a kid's film again. He touched my breasts. Oh, the good old days when child molestation was funny. And then later on, he's on the phone. He's angry. He's like, touch her breasts. She doesn't even have breasts. Like, oh, this film sunk. The only lower that film sunk was while he's trying to find them at the pool, there's an 80-year-old man in a Speedo standing behind him.
I'm waiting for him to have
no apparent reason.
I know. I'm waiting for that guy to have lines of some sort.
Yeah. There's a guy in the film behind him, an 80-year-old man around the pool. There's young people splashing, playing. He's talking to the woman behind the counter. Behind him, an 80-year-old man wearing nothing but a Speedo and I think a baseball cap, just leaning there. And you're just like, okay, he's got to say something. Otherwise, why the fuck is this guy here?
I know. And it's like you could see the curvature of his package to where the Speedo was practically riding up his ass. And it's like, holy fuck.
You can't look away from it. Like,
and then this guy screaming about how, I found you. And then the woman's like, oh, yeah, his little brother's in the arcade. It's like, wait a minute. There's this creepy guy screaming at this kid. Don't you think that's a little weird?
No.
I'm looking for my son. No, you're not. You're a fucking creep pedo.
And then, of course, we have the lovely kissing scene between Corey Haim and Fred Savage.
You keep saying Corey.
Corey Haim in a fright wig. That's all it was.
I like when she punches him for no reason other than putting on a fucking mask.
I like that was the best. I think Fred Savage should have been punched a lot sooner than that. I don't hate Fred Savage, but I think he deserved at least that punch.
I made it a point while watching the movie to write down every time I spotted a Nintendo game. What? Well, because I just wanted to prove how much they were whoring themselves out. And according to the sheet here, I wrote down 12 games, and I missed a couple, I guess. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 17 games. Now, as they mention The Legend of Zelda, but I don't think they actually show it. They actually reference a couple of games without showing them. But as far as physically showing the games on the screen to sell them, yeah, there was more. They were in double digits for that.
Your inaccuracy is making me cough. They do show Zelda during the film.
When did they show Zelda?
The montage. They show a brief of the screen.
Oh, when she's getting help with the hotline.
Oh wait, no, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost. You know what? You may be right. I think I might be mistaken. You might be. Okay. I might be mistaken.
All right. I know they show Ninja Gaiden quite a bit. That game actually came out the same year as the movie. So. And
that's one of the few games in this movie that I remember playing as a kid was Ninja Gaiden. I actually dug Ninja Gaiden a little bit. Yeah, that's one of the few games of Nintendo that I played. It's actually in this movie. I didn't play any of the crap. I never played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Super Mario Brothers. It came with the system, so you had to play the first one. But and I never cared for it. I never got into Super Mario at all. But
I liked Super Mario. Yeah. I always did.
Double Dragon, I played it in the arcade a couple times with the better graphics, but never on Nintendo. But no, most of the other games they show, I never played. I certainly didn't have a fucking Power Glove.
I did.
I never had a Power Glove. I never had the gun.
Well, the gun came with the system. I had a launch. I had a launch NES system. It came with the robot. It came with Gyromite, Duck Hunt. It came with everything. 2 controllers, everything. I had a launch system.
Mine came with the gun, but it did not come with the robot. That was post-robot.
Well, that robot was garbage. And I'll get into that in Strangers as well.
You mean it wasn't a good robot?
It didn't work. Just like the Power Glove didn't work. Let me tell you something. They really have only started to figure out a lot of the peripherals for video games because a lot of the peripherals that came out for these systems were very, very poor to the point of where they didn't work or they only worked for certain games. Peripherals nowadays are much better. They are much better. Peripherals back then were really meant to just kick you in the fucking gut and take your money. Much like how these kids were robbed throughout the film. It was almost like a metaphor for
I didn't even think of that.
For what these video game companies were doing to us children. I swear to God. That Power Glove was like $90.
There's hope on the horizon. Will this add meaning to my life? Give me that goddamn money.
Here's a fucking power glove.
And of course, the ultimate message of the film, because at the end, of course, Jimmy comes full circle and he breaks out of his shell. How to break awkward children out of their shell who are introverted and avoiding contact with the outside world. Mm-hmm. Video games.
There you go.
Video games that will help us interact with humans and become more social and break it. That's exactly what video games do.
I like when. No, you're right. How about the scene when Christian Slater and Beau Bridges are stuck in a hotel where they're sleeping in the same bed, and they pretty much get into a fight, almost like a husband and wife. I can't even talk to my own father, and he walks out in his underwear, and he comes back in with a Nintendo.
What a pussy he was!
Yeah.
Guy slashes his father's tires, punches his father in the face. I'm waiting for Christian Slater to jump on him and like rip his fucking head off. But no, he like giggles the whole time. Look at that little half laugh.
So, can we go get something to eat now?
Yeah.
Ah, you little prick. But he brings in a Nintendo system with games.
Yeah, and at least Fred's taking some initiative, you know?
Right. But it just... I
just want to point out
they're traveling with a Nintendo system. They can't leave home without it.
I just want to point out we have some of our viewers now chatting in the live stream chat room.
Yeah.
And I asked them to name their favorite Nintendo video games. And there's a reason I'm doing this. Okay. Because so far I've got Paperboy, Spy Hunter, Super Mario, which doesn't count because it's everywhere, Top Gun, Zelda, and someone just mentioned Dragon Warrior, which was that a Nintendo game? Yeah.
Okay. I know Dragon Warrior.
As far as I can tell from memory, were any of those games in this movie? Spy Hunter certainly wasn't.
None of those games were in the movie.
The only one I was iffy was Dragon Warrior. None of all these people, their favorite games in Nintendo, none of them were in the film. That's why this film didn't do well. They're showcasing Nintendo, and they must have been picking properties that they had the rights to show. I don't know if they had second party or third party. Second party. If they had third party designers where they couldn't get the rights to show some games. But all the games that these people... Rampage is another one. They didn't show Rampage.
No, Rampage was in the movie.
Was Rampage? I didn't see Rampage.
It was in the movie.
All right. So far, it's the only one that were mentioned here. So all these favorite games that our viewers loved aren't in the film. All you're watching is Ninja Gaiden and Double Dragon and Super Mario, whatever.
Well, I mean, even though our viewers and listeners haven't mentioned those, that doesn't mean those weren't good games.
No, but you know what my point is, though? It's just like
the ones in the movies were very popular too.
I never played any of them.
What was your favorite Nintendo game?
Golgo 13.
Golgo, I have that commercial.
Actually, it's not even that good. No, I had Nintendo and I played a lot of it, but honestly, I don't think I ever really cared for it. It was just something to do. As soon as I got a computer, I just threw that away.
I gotta say, my favorite was probably Contra, which was in the game. I played the living shit out of Contra.
I played Contra for hours. Yeah, I take that back. I'm sorry. Contra was a favorite game only because I knew the code. That's it.
Oh, the up, down, left, right, BA start. 30 lives.
Qbert wasn't on Nintendo, was it?
No, their Qbert was on Nintendo. You got to remember, Nintendo had about 500 or 500 or 600 games. It made it to the Nintendo much later in the system's life.
Yeah. All right.
Qbert was an old arcade game, and when they just felt like porting something over, whether it was good or not, they did it. You know.
Now, I just gotta say, my ending for this film, really should have been. The film would have been an hour long. When the bikers roll up on the three kids and she smiles.
Yeah.
What happened after that wouldn't be shown, but we'd never see the girl again, and Jimmy would become like a coke addict, and Fred Savage would be the one sitting in a corner saying California, and he'd be scarred for life.
California. Okay.
Horrible things should have happened to these children on the road.
Yeah. Didn't they went over 2 states anyway, though?
I guess, but they're big states. This isn't like New Jersey to Pennsylvania. These are huge states. Nevada's a huge state. Even if you go like
Did
around
they start off in Utah? Is that where they started off in the movie?
I
And they
think
went
so.
south?
Yeah, they weren't going south.
I think so. Yeah, so you're right. They are pretty fucking large.
Even if you like just cut across the corner of Nevada, that's still bigger than our state.
Yeah, that's true. Probably fit 20 New Jerseys in Nevada.
The only thing I really buy from this film is the fact that none of the adults gave a shit.
Yeah.
Every adult around them was like, oh, there's 3 kids by themselves, no parental supervision, whatever. It's like the bus station guy's gonna sell the kid like a ticket in California. 2 tickets to California. If Fred Savage had $200, those 2 unaccompanied children under the age of like any kind of real responsibility would be riding that bus to California. He didn't give a shit.
No.
And what was that weird part where the cop came in and he goes up to the bus, the guy selling bus tickets at the bus depot,
Right.
and you hear the snippet of the conversation where he says, "Oh, here's Janet's latest complaint," and puts it down. It's like, who's complaining it to the bus driver guy? What's going? It wasn't.
I don't know.
Like,
It's just one of those scenes where it's almost they were filming it, ad-libbing, and they said, fuck it, let's keep it.
But there's
no
a whole
reason.
story there. Who's Janet and why is she having a complaint? And why is the cop delivering her complaint to the bus ticket salesman guy? What's the bus stop clerk have to do with Janet
Right.
that the cop has to show up on a regular basis because this is today's complaint?
Maybe it was
from
their
her.
shitty way of showing that it's just a small town and everybody knows everybody.
It raised more questions than it should have. It should have been it should have been anything except something that makes you ask more questions in your head. That's not a transition line. That's a wait, back up. What's going on there line? Definitely more interesting than the 3 kids betting each other $6 they can beat the video game.
And it's funny. It's like how many times throughout the film are these kids riding in the back of a pickup? How many times does that happen throughout?
But
the
they
film?
had helmets. They had helmets on when they rode the motorcycle.
Well, okay, but in this day and age, and I guess I remember as a kid I used to do the same thing. In this day and age, you drive by anybody with kids in the trunk or in the trunk in the flatbed of a pickup, holy God, you get pulled over quicker than anything.
All right, we realize it's a different age, sir. You don't have to go into that.
Uh-huh.
That whole thing.
Oh, and the scene that's on now, the woman that owns the diner that comes out and she shoos away the big tough kids.
Oh yeah, that's what's her name.
That she was in No Country for Old Men. She played the mother.
She's been in a lot of stuff.
She's been in a ton of stuff, but her most memorable, I think, in the last decade is definitely No Country for Old Men.
The saddest part for me in the film is Frank McRae when he makes his appearance.
Yeah.
As Spanky.
Spanky.
Put it on the bridge, Spanky. Oh, you took a role and your name was Spanky.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just. Oh, speaking of casting, so in the final tournament, we have of course, the dick kid that everyone hates has to be blonde. That's just an 80s. That's an 80s rule. The dick kid is always blonde and always has expensive clothing. Or in this case, like a nice, I don't know. I'm assuming it was expensive. It looked like a t-shirt.
No, he's definitely he's got
the power glove. Of course he's got money.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah.
$90 toy.
So the 3 finalists in the Nintendo tournament, video games, we have the older dick kid with the blonde hair. We have the Rain Man little kid who can play the game. And then we have, let's go and find the most unattractive teenage girl we can possibly find, make her even more unattractive on purpose, and then direct her to tell her, make the most unappealing faces you possibly can while you're playing the game. Because the last thing we want to do was imply that attractive girls will play Nintendo games.
I know. And I was trying to point, I was trying to think, I mean, George Collazo from Seinfeld kept popping into my head. Looking at this girl, and I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
It's
George, not George Collazo,
sexist.
George Costanza.
Stan, I wonder what you're saying there. I didn't want to jump on that.
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Mine. I never played the card games.
Yeah, people in the chat room know the mistake I made.
Yeah. But for the love of God, do we have to make this homely girl even homelier and give her the pigtails? And then and why was the announcer for the video convention the creepiest guy in the world?
Oh yeah, you could tell he snorts coke off of chicks' asses after the show, behind the scenes.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's get a guy that's going to be appealing to kids, like a Nickelodeon. Like they were aiming for like a Nickelodeon type host.
They couldn't get Mark Summers apparently. He was done doing Double Dare.
Yeah, and when he leans over and goes, come to me, my kitties. Like, that's not even funny. We just had breast touching like not 15 minutes ago. That's uncool. And then when he leans over the girl and like flaps her pigtails around, his hands, just when his hands went, I flinched. When he got behind her, his hands. When he got behind her, his hands go around her shoulders. I flinched. Like, oh God, no!
He's gonna do it right here.
No.
He doesn't even care.
Oh, and then of course they throw in the fun little side story of that. The reason the kid that plays the video games is so quiet is that he watched his like twin sister drown in front of him.
Oh right, yeah.
We get any more bizarre and depressing in a film that involves video games and like wacky car chases?
I know.
Gotta add the drama we have to add in here. Can't the kid just be slow? It can't be just because he saw someone die in front of him, and now you're taking him on motorcycles with bikers. I mean, it's not as fucked up as Sam and Me,
right?
Or Max and the one with the two kids that go cross country by themselves that came out around the same time period. Was it Max and Eddie?
Not Max and Me, with the alien.
Max and Me was the low rent version of E.T. Correct. I'm talking about. There's another one where two kids go on the road.
Doesn't ring a bell.
It didn't do well. It was supposed to be a big kid film hit.
Oh, okay.
I'll find it. It's like Sam and Max, I think it's called. But that's a video game. Max was one of the kids. I'm telling you.
Okay. All right.
I guarantee someone listening to us right now knows what I'm talking
about. It's funny.
There's
an internet video comp disc out there with tons of different horror movies and just nostalgic 80s flicks, and it's called Video Armageddon. And I'm just wondering if the person got the title for that from this movie, because I've never heard Video Armageddon referenced anywhere else.
Well, Armageddon is a pretty general term. You can slap anything on Armageddon. That's
I
why
guess so.
It's such an easy name. Again, why would you name a video game competition Video Armageddon?
Hey, piece of shit out of me.
As unimaginative as unimaginative as Nintendo is,
right?
Rest in case.
Yeah.
And I think I checked. I think
man,
didn't do anything before. Am I right?
Who?
The
director?
Screenwriter.
Oh, the screenwriter? Yeah, I have
Screenwriter.
Screenwriter was David Chisholm.
Yeah, he didn't really do anything major. No.
The last thing he wrote was in 1999, and that was Kidnapped in Paradise. And it's all TV movie stuff. You know what?
Again,
other than The Wizard, everything he's done is a TV movie or TV series.
Oh, is this the scene where Bo Bridges and Christian Slater spoon?
Yeah. And this is where Christian Slater brings in a Nintendo and hooks it up in literally 10 seconds, which is fucking impossible.
I would have put a scene in where Bo Bridges wakes up and Christian Slater's like stroking his bushy eyebrows.
Oh,
Dad.
You look just like Lloyd. And I just love, you could tell when an adult is playing a video game that doesn't play video games, because the way Bo Bridges is like, he's moving with the controller. It's like, nobody does that. Come on. It's like, give me a break.
When Bo Bridges yells at Christian Slater because he's running outside in his boxer shorts, he should have said, "Hey, that's my underwear." All right.
I want that back right now.
Oh, you could have made this movie so dark.
Yeah, so the writer hasn't done jack. The director, Todd Holland, I think he's done a few...
What if Jimmy lost at the end and he hung himself in the back with his Nintendo remote control cord?
And just for the record, he died 2 times during the tournament, and Lucas and the girl, she died once. Lucas didn't die at all.
Right.
That alone should have allowed him to have more points. He had to catch up and time.
He found the warp.
Yeah, but
You found the warp.
But, and I guess I'm getting a little too technical with it. You're not going to get more points. You're just going to continue getting points because you're just in a different level.
See, now you're getting too geeky.
I know. It's just, well, it's just the truth. Well, you know what? The Todd Holland, he only directs TV stuff.
Yeah, no, it was low rent. Again, it's lowest bidder. Just get a couple guys. We just need to make this commercial for the game. This is like a great idea we had, and nothing put into it. I mean, at least they put something in the Mario Brothers, the Super Mario Brothers film. The problem was they put all the wrong stuff into that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, now, but again, I have to stress the fact that they don't use the Power Glove again. I was confused as hell going into the film because all I had to go off of was the movie poster. I'm serious. I never watched the film as a kid. And Fred Savage is wearing the glove in the movie poster.
Yeah, I told you. It was just to sell it. The movie the movie was made to sell Nintendo, the Power Glove,
that, obviously.
And that's it.
If you're going to sell something,
Super Mario Brothers
you don't
3.
just. If you're going to sell something, you don't just show it for 2 minutes or 1 minute. You have it come up again. You go to the big tournament, and it's like, well, he's got the Power Glove, he's got the edge. It's like, we're gonna get this Power Glove. It's like, or I was even thinking Jimmy's in it. Like, Jimmy's never used the Power Glove before. He's intimidated by it, and Jimmy would master the Power Glove during the final round. I mean, anything that would make the tournament more exciting than watching 3 kids play a video game.
Hey, yeah, you know what? Yeah, they should have had it more often, but it's just not happening.
And Karate Kid came out before this, definitely, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, Karate came out in 84 or 85.
I remember timeline-wise. I have trouble with real time, but that works. Mm-hmm. When you're going to pattern your end on Karate Kid as far as having a tournament, just rip it off so at least it has that kind of structure so there's some kind of tension in it.
Well, I mean... They had him die a couple of times, and you saw him go all the way back, and he had to catch up. That was their tension. As poor as it was, that was their tension.
I'll have to admit, I did enjoy the shot where the wall comes up and Jimmy's standing there on the thing
he's waiting. Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty neat.
It was a cool moment. That was a cool moment. I'll admit that. It's all you get from me.
With his stupid yellow lunchbox.
I thought when it burst open, it would have like $7,000 in it.
It's like, Jimmy, you fucking hold it out on me, you little prick.
It should have been spiders.
Yeah, spiders. Just fucking recluse? No. Brown recluse. Yeah, spiders just attacking everybody.
Fucked it up. Hold on. Oh, wait, is this the scene where they take money from them again?
Yeah, yes.
I said, for a bunch of stupid kids traveling the country. And now, if anybody should have done damage to these kids, it should have been the 2 middle-aged businessmen they scammed. They scammed 2 middle-aged businessmen in jackets and ties into playing video games for money, and then they walked away.
Yeah. I mean, back in that time period, adults just were not playing video games.
Stop. Don't stop with the back in that time period, because it sounds like
it's the truth.
In those days, I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Glenn Ross meets Nintendo. Glenn Ross isn't giving the kids $200. That's it. Glenn Ross is calling the cops, or better yet, kicking the shit out of these kids in the alley.
Taking their money again.
You don't survive as a salesman on the road and get fucking scammed by Fred Savage.
Well, yeah, you're probably not.
You teach Fred Savage the finer line. You teach him the rules of like living on the road. That's why that happens.
And then that's when Bruce Dern starts narrating.
And they should have been drunk. They should have been had high balanced on the thing while they're playing. And what casino has the arcade literally 10 feet from the slot machines? Isn't that illegal? That's why.
You know what? I don't know. I have no idea if they were more lenient back in the 80s, but I know nowadays you can't even walk. You can't walk into a casino unless you're 21. Even if you're just walking around, you have to have ID. If you're not gambling at all, you still have to be 21. Maybe back then it was different. I don't know.
He touched my breasts.
He touched my. So.
And did you know? Oh, I gotta mention it because I saw the trivia. Did you
Yeah.
know that the truck that Spanky drives at the end is the same truck from Over the Top?
Is it really?
If you look at the side, you can see part of the logo of the Hawk logo that he had. It's
No
the same
shit.
truck. Yeah, not the whole truck, but just the front, the cab. It's the same cab from Over the Top.
It would make sense. I mean, Over the Top came out, what, 86?
Yeah, so they had that laying around.
And Over the Top, I'm almost positive, was a Universal film. They just pulled it out of storage.
And the best part is Spanky says he stole it, so
Yeah.
you know he stole it from Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. I turn my hat like this. It's like, it's like changing a dial.
There is a movie crossover I want to see.
Over the Top?
With the end part. Like after
Oh, I see what you mean. Like the truck getting stolen and it melts into this movie?
I think at the end of the credits, they should have had a little clip where Sylvester Stallone beats the snot out of Spanky while like the kids watching horror. Don't take my truck, yo. Is it, bah, 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 bah. I can't do the impression. You can do it.
It's okay. I can't do it that well either.
But yeah, it sucked. I don't think the movie sucked.
My
as bad
impression
as
or the movie?
both. Now,
Okay.
between the movie and the Power Glove sucks more.
Yeah.
But the only thing that saves the film is like the every day. It's Christian Slater. Oh, it's that guy from Raising Arizona.
That's right. All right. So.
Oh, by the way, he looks every time you see him in these films, he always plays like the asshole and kind of gangly or geeky or something like that. But when he wears those tight shirts, like at the end when he's at the carnival, he looks like he could do some fucking damage.
Yeah.
Him loose on the kid chaser for like 5 minutes. It looks like he could pound some. Yeah. I can't even verbalize what I think he would do to somebody. He's built.
Are you flustered?
I'm not. Yeah. Well, I just because he's just supposed to be a dick, and he has the suit on, and blah, 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 vicious asshole. And then when he like the next scene where he comes out in the skin tight like polo shirt, like sipping a ice cream cone or something, and you're like, holy shit, this guy this is the guy you don't fuck with when he's in line in front of you.
Right.
It's like he's tight.
Do we want to rate this on IMDb?
Yes. Current IMDb rating is 5.7, sir. Starting
To just stop you real quick, we never rated Night and Day last week.
We didn't?
We did not.
We can do that.
I mean, we could do that real quick and then do this one real quick.
Okay. Nice to know you're taking this to heart. I'm glad I started this. So the official Moviesucktastic rating for The Wizard is 5.7.
Yes, it is.
So starting at, do you want to start down from 10? How do we do it last time?
What we were doing is we were starting at the rating. So this we would start at 6, and we would think
correct.
of reasons why to keep it at 6 or why to drop it from 6.
All right, we're at 6. Okay.
All right, gets one point dropped for the poor use of the Power Glove and how shitty the product actually was.
We'll lose 1 point for he touched my breasts.
Okay, so now we're down to 4.
All right, now gain 1 point for Christian Slater and Beau Bridges.
Okay,
Even if it
back
wasn't
up
a
to
good
5.
job, I like them as actors. So
Okay.
yeah.
Do you want to give it a point for what's his face from Raising Arizona? Because he plays a douche very well. Anytime he's up, that's
he's
true.
hardly-
All right, we're even on that then. You know what? I say 4 is a very, very good rating for this.
I want to give it a star because they kept taking the money away from the kids. But I want to take away 2 stars because it should have ended with shallow graves.
So let's rate it a 4 then.
I'm totally on board with 4. It's
Okay.
not a 1. It's definitely not a 5. All right, 4 it is. It's locked in.
It's well
I'm sure we
below
made
average.
a massive difference there.